All right, so for today, we are going to talk about MapLibre. And this is a package that I actually cover in my intro to GS programming class by adding some new functionalities. So for today, we want to focus on 3D mapping, okay? And for the past many weeks of all the Python packages that we have used, it's all 2D mapping. It's just like a flat map Mercator projection, web Mercator projection. And if you're working on some area in the polar regions, it's not a good projection. It's a lot of distortions. So I think 2 weeks ago, I just integrated some of the 3D mapping functionalities into the package. So now you can create 3D maps, just 2 lines of code. I'm going to show you how to do that. And again, this is going to show you some of the functionalities. You don't necessarily have to use this, but I mean, it's going to become more and more popular. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to try it out. If you go to the LeafMap website here, again, there's something wrong with the GitHub yesterday. Let me try to review the website. GitHub keep changing some of the infrastructure and then enforce some of the limit. So now you're going to run into some of these issues from time to time. So first, I'm going to show you what it looks like. If you go to the LeafMap website, and on the left side here, click MapLibre, and then overview. So this is what we're going to cover here today. But I already show you. If you've never heard about MapLibre, you can just Google it. You can find a website somewhere here. And this is what you can do. Wow, pretty cool, you see. 3D maps. You can drag and drop. And it's very intuitive. You can also develop like using a map, mobile applications, something like that. So what we're going to do here today is to create these kind of maps easily using LeafMap. And so MapLibre is a JavaScript library, okay? But we're going to do that in Python. Have you heard about Mapbox? So actually, MapLibre is actually a fork of the Mapbox. So Mapbox is very popular in like mapping applications, especially on the web. It's very powerful and it's very nice. It used to be truly open source. A couple years ago, because they developed some open source and then become very powerful. A lot of people using that, company using that, and they want to make money. So they changed the open source to closed source. And now it's not fully open source. So people are very upset. And so some of the developers fork the repo and then create so-called MapLibre. Okay, MapLibre. So liberate the map. So basically, it's free open source version. I think I forgot the exact time, a couple years ago. And so this is basically very much similar to Mapbox, but after it become this is truly open source. So there's no license or anything. It's free. Anyone can use it. Kind of like OpenStreetMap or MapLibre that it's totally free without requiring a license. And but Mapbox, there's a lot more nice features because it's a company, private company. They have a lot of money, so they hire a lot of people. MapLibre is more like community driven, so there's some money, but there's like not a whole lot, and it's all like open source projects. So, and there's a Python package here that brings MapLibre into Python. So from this repo here, it's called MapLibre GL. So basically, it's called a binding. That means under the hood, it's still using JavaScript, but we can use that in Jupyter Notebook. And it's very much similar to the Leaflet and IPyLeaflet, okay? So Leaflet is a JavaScript library. IPyLeaflet is the one that I have been using. And so MapLibre is a JavaScript library, but there's a Python package called MapLibre. It's actually so-called a binding. That means you can write Python code. It's going to create the map. The map actually is coming from JavaScript and then render the map. Okay, so but LeafMap built on top of this Python package makes it even easier to create maps because you can go and learn about this package. I mean, it's good that you can create maps using in the Jupyter Notebook, but it's not so easy, okay? If you want to create a map, it still takes some time for you to actually write the source code. So you need to write many lines of code to create a simple map. All right, so the internet is not working very well. For example, here, Jupyter, right? So look at all this. And these are some examples you can use to create a map. And then think about, you need to import all the libraries, you need to set the data, and then you need to create the data layer, and then you can create a map, and then add the data layer, like blah, blah, right? It certainly works. But leave map built on top of this one so they can create packs, to create maps. Just one line of code without having to do all this. I'm going to show you how to do that. But before we get into that, let me show you some example so that you can take a look, like preview this map example. So I create this repo here. So this is actually hosted on GitHub pages. It's all free. And I have some example, for example, 3D. So let me show you some of these examples so you can get an idea what we're going to do here shortly today. I believe the internet is not working very well. It might be just a, oops. This is not the best time to have internet outage. Let me try another one. Not working at all. Oh, this one is working. Not sure why. It might be GitHub. Oh, okay. It looks like coming. Hello? Oh, okay. Yeah. Oops. Yeah. So now we have this 3D globe. Look at the text. It's actually floating above the map. Pretty cool. And similarly like this. It should be 3D globe. It maybe just the internet. It should be not very you. Yeah, it's very slow. But you can zoom in. I can example press shift. Yeah, just the internet. Otherwise, it should be very smooth. Anyway, let's try it. See if it works locally. Not sure why. It might be just a GitHub issue because if I visualize the website, looks everything. Okay, so now the website is not working. Let me try it locally. See if it works. And oh, by the way, so for the MapLibre, it doesn't work in VS Code, so you need to use JupyterLab. That's the only annoying thing right now. It's no issue. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, it will be resolved. But for now, you need to use JupyterLab. Okay. Otherwise, the map would not show up in VS Code. Okay. So just want you to be aware. Once it's open, then you can go to MapLibre here, right? And you can uncomment this line to install the package. So let me zoom in a little bit here. Install that, and then you can just import MapLibre as div map. And after that, just simply create a map. Okay, it works pretty well locally. So look at this. And this is how you can create a map easily compared to using the official MapLibre Python package. You need to write many lines of code actually to be able to do that. But with this, we can create a map. And this is using, this is called vector tile, okay? It's very different from using MapLibre. MapLibre is using raster tiles. So raster tile means when you zoom in to a certain level, it's going to become pixelated. Vector tile is totally different. It's like, because it's vector tile, it's vector, there's no going to be pixelated. So you can zoom in all the way in, it will not show you basically pixelated. So for example, I can zoom in, you can see the buildings. It's pretty crystal clear, right? You can zoom all the way into very, very fine scale. And so vector tile is usually only vector data have some kind of this. If it is satellite imagery, they are not vector tile, okay? Only vector, basically all the polygons, lines, points, you can have those vector tiles. So this is how you can create a map like this easily. One thing you need to pay attention is compared to MapLibre, for the center is like latitude, longitude. For MapLibre is longitude, latitude, okay? So there's something you need to pay attention. For example, I want something for the US, the center around the US. what's the rough center coordinate for the US? 40 and minus 100. So for this case, it will be minus 100 and then 40. Okay. And then for the zoom level, will be, I think, around 3 or 4. It's a little bit different. This one is like using MapLibre. So 4 probably is a little bit too much. I can change it to 3 or 3.5, maybe 3. See? Although this is just a black map, it doesn't really show you anything. It's not super interesting. But one nice thing about this is allows you to actually so compare to the MapLibre. So this one has so-called the pitch and bearing. So pitch means like if you're looking horizontal, like how many degrees, like from 0 to 90. Bearing means it's from pointing to the north all the way to counterclockwise. Okay, so let me show you. I can press Control on my keyboard. Look at this. So this one is called pitch. Okay, understand? 0 to 90 degrees. If it is like 0, that means you are looking overhead, like on the location. 90 degrees means you are looking like horizontally, like from this location. It's just like when you have element. And then the bearing means is if this is the pointing to the north and then clockwise, okay, 0 to 360. Oops. You won't be able to do this with MapLibre, okay? MapLibre is just a 2D map. This is a 3D map. That's why you can do something like this. So for example, bearing, if I have 45 degrees, what do you think the map going to look like? Where is the north going to be pointing to? 45 degrees. Okay, so this is the north. 45 degrees means like this, 45 degrees. So look at the map. Okay, you see that? 45 degrees, so like pointing to the north. If this 90 degrees, or maybe like 180. If this 180, that means it's going to be totally upside down. Yeah. Let me reverse it back. Right now, it doesn't really very look interesting. When we have the 3D map, you understand the differences. So for MapLibre, it has a couple base maps. The default one is called dark matter, okay? Just like some of the base map we have been using. And there's another one here, it's called positron, okay? Positron. This is the one we have here. And if you want some 3D stuff, use this one called Liberty, okay? So this is another OpenStreetMap, similar to OpenStreetMap, based on OpenStreetMap, but it has 3D like buildings. So look at this one. This is where this is a lot more powerful than MapLibre. So you can zoom to anywhere that you like, or you can press Shift on your keyboard and then just drag like zooming to a particular location. For example, I'm gonna look at New York. So this looks very much like Google Map. It's like the styling, and it's vector type, so it's super high resolution. So I can continue to zoom in, right? And it is, all right? And press Control on your keyboard. Isn't it nice? How many lines of code you need to write? 2 lines of code. And you can see how fast it is, right? And you can zoom to any location you like. So if those buildings have height, you can do that. And this is right now all using like grayscale, but actually you can color them using your own style if you want to, because it's vector type, so you can actually render the data on the fly. And this is where the pitch and bearing becomes very, very important, because let me see here. I think it's like state. What exactly the view? Yeah, view state. For example, if I type in this one, it's going to show you right now basically the status of the map, the longitude, the latitude, the zoom level, the bearing, and the pitch. So this is if you want to create a map that, for example, you want to create a map, zoom directly to this without having to like user have to go through. And this is where you can control, right? So but right now, if I create this map, it's going to look like this. But user have to zoom in. But if you want to control, right, then it will be like this, okay? Then be center equal to square brackets. And then you can copy this one, right? So this is, for example, somewhere here, this longitude, like this, okay? Again, longitude, latitude, not latitude, longitude. So this is kind of confusing. And then, okay, zoom equal to, what's the zoom level? 15.5, maybe just 15. But it allows you to use like decimal degree, but I will just use 15. And then this is where you control. If you don't have the base pitch and bearing, it will look like this. So let me just right now run this one. See, this is right now like looking right down in NYC, but you need to actually press control and then drag it to be able to see like this. But if you want to like create a map and then you want to show that all at once, the bearing means like the degree that you are pointing, for example, looking either vertically or horizontally. You're going to have this and then bearing equal to 60. So I'm going to say pitch equal to this. Oops, where is it? 25. Bearing equal to, is it 60? Oh, pitch is, oh, okay, good catch. So pitch is 60. So you kind of look like horizontally, and then bearing is 35. Okay, so now if I run it nicely, so I have the map exactly what I want it to look like. So if you, for example, if you navigate to the map to a particular location, and then once you figure out, okay, I like this particular direction or this angle, then you just like press type this m.view state. It's going to show you this is the location, the position right now of the map. So then you just override these contents with your map, and then the map will look exactly like what you are showing in here when you create a map initially. Make sense? All right. So next, this is where we really create 3D globe. Look at this. Just one line of code, and then we're going to use the style Liberty, the base map, and the projection, we're going to use the globe. You can use Mercator projection, but I'm going to use the globe. Right here, you'll be able to see this one. Let me full screen a little bit. Okay. Wow, you guys use the black color. They actually have some. No, it's not start. On the right here, there's a button. Look at this. All right. So if you ever need to teach people like map projection, and this is a perfect way to do that. So for example, here I'm gonna look at maybe Canada or Greenland. Right, so this is the real size because it's on 3D globe. There's no really distortion. But if you see the Greenland, this big, but actually it's not. It's this big. Okay. So with this, now you can create maps just like this, and it's super nice because you have all the text, all the label. The label actually floating on top of the map. We can add other data layers, but it's super nice. So you can create a 3D globe, and I can do the same thing, coming to any location here, and just with 2 lines of code, we create a 3D map for us, right? And so if you really want here, the globe is useful when, especially when you are mapping like area that super big. If it is at the city scale or the campus, you don't really see the differences because it's hard to tell. So right now I'm gonna turn this one back to this. You can click this button to pointing to the north, and then you can press Control on your keyboard to bring it back to the vertical direction. And maybe let me look at our campus here. I'm not sure how many 3D views in there we have here. Where are we? Here, at the stadium. Really cool. Not bad, right? All the building is not very high. Where are we? This building. Right now, there's no label or anything, but definitely this is the one. You see, if I click the button right now, it doesn't really change anything because it's a very small area. So it's look pretty much the same if like 2D or 3D. But if you for large area, then you want to see a lot of differences. So try to play with this. What's this one? Oh, Sunsphere. Okay. Yeah, this is probably the highest one in town. Anyway, play with it and see how you like it. Certainly, it's a lot more powerful than just 2D mapping because you have a lot more control. Right now, the internet is very fast, so it's like a little bit annoying. And you can create, for example, spacebar. Sometimes it's just a background. You can do it like this, and I can create something like this. So here, it is 3D globe. So it allows you to add all kind of stuff, base map, other type of stuff, and you can always have this control here to make the changes. Questions? Next one, you can add some controls. So I'm going to do it here. For example, this is the geolocate control. So I can just use the add control function and then to add this one. The nice thing about this, it allows you to, if you develop some application, you want to see where the user located, then you can click this button. So upper left corner. So it may here, if you click this one, and the browsers ask you, do you want to allow them to see the location? So this is kind of like Google Map, right? If you go to Google Map, you will ask your location, and then just click yes. Okay. Pretty accurate. So you're able to check the location right, exactly. Maybe I think I'm right now somewhere here. No, this is on the other side. Oh no, it's actually right. This is on the other side of the building, right? I'm on this side, so it's actually amazingly accurate. So if you, for example, develop some application, allow the user to open that so that they can download the data for their country, for the area. This is a nice control that you can utilize. Of course, you can change the base map. I'll show you how to do that. And the full screen control, by default, the control is being added. So basically, it's just this one here. You can zoom full screen. And the full screen won't work on Google Colab or in VS Code, only in Jupyter Lab. And navigation control is the one in this way. So pointing to the north, zoom in and zoom out. Okay. So sometimes if you have like accidentally have the map and then rotate somewhere, and forgot like, oh, where is the north? You have no idea because you can play with this and then you become like location unaware. Then you can click this button to pointing back to the north. And the draw control allows you to draw things similar to MapLibre, although it has a little bit more functionalities. So you can also, for example, click this one, you can make changes. Okay, so it's a lot more powerful than MapLibre. I can add another vortex. So this allows you to do some creating some vector data, doing some editing. For example, here I can click this one, I can drag it. This one, I can drag it, and you can delete something. For example, delete the point. I can click the vortex. I can delete the vortex. Okay, so it's pretty cool. Yes, it actually from MapLibre. This map built on top of MapLibre, but it basically simplify a lot of stuff so that you don't have to write many lines of code. And I'm going to skip this section. So the next one I'm going to introduce, for example, this one. You might already be familiar with this. It's actually very much similar to using MapLibre, right? So I can add a base map. I create a map and then I add the base map and then I add the layer control. And the layer control is a little bit different from MapLibre that is in the upper right corner. This one is somewhere here. Okay, so by default, we are using a dark matter base map, but right now we're using the OpenStreetMap, open topo map, right? So I can add a map and I can zoom in, can zoom out. So you need to understand the differences. This one here, what I'm showing, this map here, this one is a raster tile, okay? So you can zoom in, but to a certain level, you're not going to see a lot more details because it's raster dataset. But for vector, it doesn't matter how much you zoom in, the line is going to still crispy and sharp. You will not see the pixelated. But for the map here, I mean, to a certain level, it doesn't show up. It's just like this. You see the pixel? So there's the power of using vector tile, is that you can render vector data very, very nicely without being seen the pixelated, but allows you to create any base map. So here I can also add another base map. For example, I can add the Esri wall imagery. Right. Again, is this a vector tile or raster tile? Vector or raster? Raster, okay. Any satellite imagery, aerial imagery, any photos, okay. All those are raster tile. It's not going to be vector because the camera cannot just like take centimeter level images. When you zoom in to a certain level, you will going to see the pixels. But vector data is different. You can zoom to any level that you like. And what else? So here, if you want to make it interesting, I can do it like this. I can just say, okay, projection equal to what? Globe. Okay. You create a new map. Oops. A project, no, a projection, no project. Okay, isn't this better? Right? A globe. Although sometimes you see some like it's not rendered very fast, you see some black area. But if you want, for example, Esri base map, it's going to add on that. See how fast it is. But now I have the globe. So nice. Right? And if you want to control the layers, there's one here. It's like m.layer interact. Okay. Here. So layer interact that allows you to control the layer visibility and also the opacity. So this is similar to this is how was this created? What's this? Widget, okay. Drop down widget. What's this one? Checkbox. This slider. What's this? This one doesn't work, but it's a color picker. If you have vector data, it allows you to change the color. But look at this. You can change this. This. Not bad, right? It's actually pretty responsive. So this is all possible through MapLibre. You can also do it like this. I can also use the app base map. So I can create this and then use the app base map function. It will create the interactive GUI. So this is very much similar to the iPi leaflet, like leaf map that you can have a drop down list and I have the same data layer. Same thing coming from that map. So I can choose here, for example, open, maybe I can check, how about this? Esri base map. It is. Right, so I can create something like this easily. I can change to another one, maybe Carto dark matter. Okay, and you can change to whatever way you like position. So if you want to be a 3D globe, you just at the beginning here, just projection equal to globe, then you create a 3D map. Questions? Next one, XYZ layers. So for your package, actually, you already have this functionality, right? If you have a URL somewhere, from that, all you need is just like have the URL, and then if for using iPi that you're using construct a tile layer and then add the tile layer to the map, right? For this MapLibre, I already have that function. So all you need just give me the URL and then just passing inside here, then you can just render the map. You can also render a WMS, for example, somewhere here. Yeah. So this is, is it not working? Oh, here. So this is basically imagery, WMS imagery. You have the layer and then add layer. So the nice thing about this is when you add a layer, MapLibre has a function, has before ID. That means you can put the layer beneath the label. So right now the imagery is beneath the label. So look at this. So we have the base map coming from this Liberty. And that Liberty base map has so many different data layers. They have all the label, they have the base map. So right now for the satellite imagery, we are placed beneath the label. So look at this. If I remove this one, pay attention here, I see the differences. I just add the layer and then see what happens. You see that? So right now, the last layer that you add is actually on top. And it's going to block all the labels. And this is why MapLibre is a lot more powerful, allows you to have fine control, because the base map has a lot of data layers. We are just playing the imagery beneath the label. So we have this before ID, and then look at this. See? So these are the vector tiles, all the labels, and they place nicely on the imagery. And if you have some 3D buildings, isn't this better than MapLibre 2D? It's so much better. You can also have this one to control, right? So this is original one. This is the base map. Very cool. And if you ever need to, for example, create some base map, if you have ever have any other data layer, let me quickly show you. I'm going to go to the national map WMS. They have those web map services. So whenever you see some of this online, you can actually find the data layer, and then you can pull the data layer and then overlay on top of the map. So for example, I want to find some maybe net imagery. I just type net, and then here it's going to show you, for example, imagery plus imagery, for example, net bang. And if you click this one, hopefully the website is still functioning. I'm really worried that with all the funding cuts, oh, not good. It might be down temporarily, it might be forever, who knows. And this is very bad. So maybe try this one. Okay, this one still works, so a good sign. And for me, I can just look into here, see what the data layer they have. So this one, essentially, this is the URL. So I'm going to just copy this one, and I can show you how to actually add this one to the map. So I'm going to maybe come to here, and this will be just the URL like this. And then the layer will be this layer. So the layer name will be something like this. USGS name imagery. Let's see if it works. There's no guarantee. Sometimes it doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't come up. So maybe it just sometimes the okay, just the question mark. So remove the question mark, and now I can load the USDA net imagery directly from national map. See here. Right, and I can make it even better. I can just enable the globe mode for projection equal to projection equal to globe. Ah, how cool it is. I have all the transportation, the routes overlay on top of the imagery. Right, so this is the best freely available satellite area imagery for the entire US. And let's zoom into our location here so you can see the details. You can download the data if you want to, but this is just a simple layer. Look at where we are right now here. I can turn the layer off. Right. This building is here. Oops, zooming, press, oops. Oh, it doesn't allow me to control. Okay, look at this. For the building, all the rows actually over there on top of the Any data? We're out of time. Not yet, right? Okay. If you ever need to render any data, you might want to consider, especially doing like large scale weather, climate. then this is going to be so much better, more intuitive, because you can render the data on a 3D globe. So WMS, XYZ tile layer, you name it. Also, you can render any raster tiles. So next, let me quickly show you some other map services. So this one is called MapLibre. All the things I've shown above earlier, those are all free. You don't have to pay anything. You don't need to create any API key. But there's some other web services from this company called MapLibre. And you can sign up for free API key. They have a lot of other basement data layer that you can do a lot of cool 3D stuff. So if you want, you can go to click the link, open the website, and then you can sign in using your Google account. Once you have the account on the left side here, you can click this API key. You will join the API key. Again, don't expose this one, okay, to other people, because they can steal your API key and then cause you money. And don't try to use this one from mine, okay? I'm going to replace it later, so you won't be able to use it. And so I'm going to just show you how to do that. I'm going to copy the URL, the API key. Then I can uncomment these two. Then just paste my API key here. Or you can set that as an environment variable. So once you have this, you'll be allowed to access MapLibre API key. So this is just some of the base maps. I'm going to show you. Maybe just like go to this example directly. So the nice thing about this is you can generate 3D maps. Oops, did I delete something? Maybe I'll show you this one. 3D hybrid. Okay, 2 lines of code, that's it. And see what we get. We get a map like this. Maybe I should also say projection equal to globe. Okay, so 3D hybrid means it's a 3D satellite based map, but it's a 3D. That means you can see a lot of things. So let me show you here, right? This is the globe. You see how smooth it is? And I'm going to zoom in. You will see the details. For example, I'm going to see some volcanoes here. Okay. See how cool is this? Press Control, keyboard. Isn't it nice? Then 2D base map. So all you need, this you need the API key, okay? So it's the one from the one that we said earlier, and allows you to create this kind of base map, and it's actually pretty powerful and pretty nice. You can zoom in to any location. You can actually follow through. It's very high resolution. All right, so if you ever need to travel somewhere, maybe look at the map and then see it in 3D. See before you go there, smokies or whatever you like. It's pretty detailed actually. So these are all like sub-meter, centimeter level. So if you're doing like, for example, forestry, agriculture, whatever, if you want to tour somewhere, maybe just take a look at this. And before you go there, so you know basically the terrain, the topography, and pretty much all you need one line of code. Yes. Oh, good question. Hard to say. It's just like Google Maps. So when they have high resolution imagery, they purchase from other companies, and then they need to create the tile layer. So it's definitely not like weekly or monthly, every year or two, at least like at the global scale. But we already have very high resolution data pretty much for any location around the globe. And again, you can, this is tons of data. So it might be a little bit slow when you looking at, but it's pretty cool. Maybe the internet is a little bit slow now. Anyway, so there are many other base map available here. Oppo base map, street, even for the street. It's also from the so this one is similar to the Liberty. The Liberty one is free. This one is not free, but it also has a lot of details, buildings. You might need to zoom in. I think they build on top OpenStreetMap, but they also have buildings like this. Talked about other cool base map out there that allows you to create a 3D base map nicely. So that's about vector data. I'm going to skip this one. So 3D terrain, 3D hybrid, These are all very cool base map that allows you. Again, if you want the 3D globe, you just set projection equal to globe, then you're able to create something like this. You can even like create ocean topography. So for example, here I use the 3D ocean, and then exaggerate equal to 1.5. That means you can exaggerate the elevation and whether you want to use the hue shade or not. So this is just like 2 lines of code. Okay, so create a map like this allows you to actually to look into the ocean. Where is the deepest part of the ocean? Certainly not here, but the idea is that allows you to actually zoom in, right? So you can see here, although it's not super deep, so you don't really see the texture, but a little bit to see all the topography. So this is ocean topography that allows you to see the, just like all using the terrain surface. So you can see, let me see here, believe where maybe you can look at here. This is usually much deeper. Okay, and not bad. You won't be able to see this one using Google Earth. Okay, Google Earth, they have those data, but you don't really see that in 3D. But this is, you can see the contour, all the stuff here using 3D, and super easy to do. Just one line of code. Exaggerated means how the elevation differences. So 1.5, then is going to multiply by 1.5. So if it is like 1,000 beneath the ocean, you become 1,500. You can change it to maybe the way that this could be useful is, let me show you this one. I'm going to say 3D hybrid. Exaggeration, I'm going to change to 3. So in that way, you can see the differences. I'm going to create a map, and similar to what I showed you earlier, right? That mountain here. Look at this one right now compared to the one I showed you earlier. So this is exaggeration 3. Too many maps, so that's why it's a little bit laggy right now. But I can see how now the mountain, is the elevation is the low, looks like this compared to it was relatively flat earlier, because right now I exaggerate a whole lot more. Right, so my computer is freezing, but it's a good time to freeze because we're out of time. So I'll leave it up to you. I want to show you some of the cool functionalities. I will not cover this one on Friday. Friday, I want to talk about Solar, or how to create intelligent web apps and then publish online. But I will give you to explore some of the cool functionality, how to visualize all kind of geospatial data with LiveMap and also MapLibre. You're welcome to integrate LiveMap into your package to use some of this functionality, or you can look at the source code, how to build out the functionality by yourself from scratch. Okay, so that's all for today. I will see you on Friday.